Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Unwritten Podcast. Today, I wanted to share a special clip from a short documentary I've been working on for almost 6 months now. It's still in post-production, and I just got done watching one of the interviews, and I thought it was very profound. I feel like I had to share it. So this interview is with Michelle. She's been a dedicated healer who spent many years exploring breathwork, spirituality, meditation, and mindfulness. But before her first psilocybin experience overseas, it changed her mindset forever. So in this interview, which won't be in the full documentary due to editing and whatnot, she describes rediscovering her childlike, playful side and healing long-buried trauma, finding deep peace. And if you've ever been curious about trying any type of psychedelics in a professional setting, then this is for you. So give it a listen and let me know what you think. Comment, share your thoughts. So enjoy. Here's Michelle.
I had already been in a healing journey on my own without psychedelics, with breath work and meditation and mindfulness exercises and brain training and a lot of study. And I had an experience in 2018 on an island in Indonesia where I could ask, they had little juice shacks where you can get like mild, medium, or strong strengths of psilocybin mushrooms. And I opted for mild because it was my first time. And the experience was so beautiful. It was as if I was a child. I mean, I felt totally present. Everything I was looking at was really interesting, like I was seeing it for the first time. I mean, I knew I wasn't seeing it for the first time, but that's how it felt as far as my interest, and I was super content. I felt very much at peace, and I was just only interested in the present experience. Never had any kind of thought about the future or the past, and I remember observing myself, watching myself real time, and noticing, wow, I feel like a child. Like I have no inclination to think about anything in the past or the future. This is amazing, and it lasts for 6 hours. And then so it helps me heal from unhealed trauma, change beliefs in my subconscious, and move forward and be more liberated and happier. And well, those are two real good questions. So I believe there's a reason why there's a stigma around it is in 1971, the Nixon administration made it illegal and went after psychedelics because the whole anti-war movement was doing LSD. So they thought if they could just go in on that and destroy that movement, and then the whole world believed what they had to say. And during the 60s, there was really great progress being made by a lot of doctors with LSD therapy. In fact, the breath work that I teach, the holotrophic breath work, Stanislav Grof, Dr. Stanislav Grof and his wife, they invented the holotrophic breathwork in 1974 because they couldn't do the LSD therapy anymore with their patients, that they were getting great results from trauma healing because of that ruling. And then the whole world bought that, and they had a lot of propaganda that went out. Oh my God, you're going to jump, if you take psychedelics, you're going to jump off a roof, or you're going to do crazy things, and okay. So you have to respect the strength of these plant medicines, or whatever you want to call them, psychedelics, and not be careful in a safe container when you're doing these things. You don't want to drive a car and do things that would cause danger for you. But so yeah, that's one reason why people get kind of freaky about it. They just have disinformation. They believed it for a long time. Okay. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
What do you think is misunderstood?
So I think what's misunderstood, because, and we're not the only culture that does this. There's a lot of cultures that do this. No one teaches you how to process your emotions. Okay. People are threatened by emotions because they don't know how to deal with them. And a lot of people, the culture, and a lot of people that say your parents unintentionally, or maybe your partner or whatever, will encourage you to push your emotions back in because they're uncomfortable with it. Okay, so there's a lot of training and conditioning we have, and not, like I said, other cultures too, to push your emotions down, okay? So because we have that, when you have something like meditation or psychedelics, and this is going to bring you inward, people have this like deep, like a kind of a subconscious belief sometimes, or sometimes it's conscious, where they're afraid to go inward because they know that they have stuff there, okay? I was teaching meditation to an Italian friend, and she tried it one time, and she said to me, I am never going to do that again because all I thought about was how angry I was at my ex-husband. And I said, well, because you went inward and that was there, it wanted to come out. She's like, I'm never doing it again. So a lot of people are afraid to go deep into it because emotions are going to come up that they're afraid to deal with, okay? Because we look at emotions a lot of times as the monster under the bed instead of something that's a part of us. It's who we are. They're not, I say challenging emotions. I don't say negative or bad. I believe that's part of who you are. So if you're branding that you're labeling it negative or bad, you're labeling part of yourself negative or bad. So how can you have total unconditional love for yourself if you're labeling part of yourself negative or bad, right? So the other thing that, particularly with psychedelics, is, the ability to surrender to the experience, whatever is being shown to you, okay? So it's great to go in with an intention, but, I would love to have this. One of my intentions would be, please show me what I need to heal, what's blocking me to get out, whatever it's blocking me subconsciously, so I can heal in this area or heal in my life or whatever. And, okay, that's my intention, and I have to be open to like whatever that's going to come to me, however that's going to look, okay? I may have an idea about what that's going to look like, but not to get attached to that, because then you're going to have an expectation, and if that expectation doesn't get realized, then you're going to get disappointed. It's not an exact science. Every time it's different. Any substances with different people are different. Each person, whatever is going on in your head, it's going to be different, And the key is to surrender to the experience of whatever comes. When people, the misconception of, oh, that bad trip, oh, I don't want to do that again because it gave me a bad trip. Well, what was shown to you was what needed to come out. That's why it was shown to you, okay? You went inward and it's like, okay, it's trying to help you. Look at this, okay? Or give you a message or whatever. And if you're not ready, or you feel you don't have practice, you don't have practice in dealing and processing your emotions, or if you don't have any kind of meditation practice, if you don't ever have practice of going inward and observing yourself without being totally hijacked by the emotion and overwhelmed by it, most people don't have that practice. So if they don't have that going into that experience, they could be resisting of what's coming up and freaking out, and it's all scary and they can't handle it, okay? Now, I've had experiences where something scary came that startled me, and I was able, because of the practice I had of observing myself, with meditation or feelings or whatever, I could say, okay, Michelle, you're safe, it's okay, this isn't real, this is just showing you something, you're supposed to learn from this, just breathe through it. And initially it's like, the initial reaction is you just want to resist it. And then you have the capability to go, no, breathe through this, don't resist this, let it go through. Then the experience go through it. It can be a challenging experience, but it doesn't have to be a bad trip. I've had challenging journeys, but I've benefited them greatly from them. I would never call them a bad trip because I was able to flow through it, and it wasn't fun, but it benefited me greatly and helped me heal.
What would you tell people who are afraid to try it?
I would ask them why they're afraid. Why are you afraid to try it? Is it because of things you've heard about it, misinformation, propaganda? Or did you have an experience where you didn't feel safe, before? Or is it something you're afraid for something to come up that, some stuff, the old stuff that you pushed down because you were too afraid to look at it and process it? I'd ask them why. My experience with ketamine is completely different than other psychedelics. So far, and I'm very intrigued and motivated to do more sessions. I've had really great experience at within Center. It's been a really safe container, very professional. I feel very taken care of. The experience and very informative and help with integration and all. That's super important. I didn't really touch on integration. Super important afterwards to talk about processing what you just went through. And a lot of that is missing sometimes when you have experience, whether it be ketamine or plant medicine. The ketamine experience for me was a hyper, even more observing. There wasn't any emotion, very little, just a little emotion. There wasn't a feel of a spiritual connection, because a lot of experiences I've had that also. There wasn't that. The visuals were very muted and very subdued. There wasn't very, like, in other experiences I've had, there's like more visual stuff sometimes. This was a blank landscape, okay? And just subdued colors, like maybe grays or blues or, whites, like very, very subtle, subdued. And, you have the eye mask on and the headphones, and as the music changes, I saw, I just observed how my mind and what I was thinking of and what I was, feeling, and then all the sensations in my body. And I felt very disassociated with my body, like kind of disconnected. I had to, I purposely wiggled my feet, the first time my hands just, like, oh, there, it's there, And it was a very, very peaceful state, like super peaceful, and just watching how I was reacting the whole time. And then since the several journeys I've had, it really has pushed me out of a feeling of being stuck. I was, over the last few months, I got in a bit of a cycle being too hyper-focused on work. I was off balance, and I wasn't permitting myself to do more joyful things. I was too busy working, And I started, I wasn't full-blown depression, but I started getting into a sad kind of state because I wasn't, doing joyful things enough in my life. I didn't have enough balance. And I remember having the thought, it feels like life is just one chore list, big chore list, one thing after another. And then I caught myself. I said, well, that's because you're making it that way. You need some balance. And I was doing all the things I do, the brain training, the affirmations, the meditations, the reflections, all the things that usually help me get out. But I was in a cycle. It was difficult for me to break free from it. And after I had several of the ketamine journeys here within, it changed. It lifted me out of that. It liberated me out of that. It empowered me. I got more motivated. I got clear, and it was just like a reset that I definitely felt in other experiences as well. That kind of reset. The experience itself was very different, but that reset of liberation and clarity was real similar to the experience, the response afterwards, the benefits after.
What would you tell somebody who's thinking about it but is unsure?
Well, just I would like to say the other thing that I love about the ketamine experience is it's legal. You don't have to be on the down low, doing it. It's legal and it's available with great professionals to help you in a very self-contained and help you prepare for it and integrate, afterwards. Because sometimes when you do other experiences, maybe the group that's sharing it or the person maybe doesn't do those things that are really, really helpful for the experience, very, very essential for a good healing experience. So it's great to have professionals around it like that. I would just say, you don't want to push yourself into something that you're not called for, you're not ready for yet. You know what I mean? I would question, what are you afraid of doing? What are you afraid? Usually it's the same kind of thing. It's oh, I'm afraid to go deeper. Well, if you surrender, I just give them all the same kind of, tips on, if you surrender to it and you really want to grow, I will motivate them and say, well, you got to do what you're ready for, but 95% of our life is run by our subconscious. Okay, so talk therapy is wonderful for identifying the problem, but unless you start going inward in whatever way you choose, you're not going to get to the root of the problem, that you want to change your life and you want things to come in your life, or you want to treat yourself better, attract more beautiful experience and people in your life. That's not going to change if all this stuff is inside of you, okay? And whether you do it with, ketamine or meditation or whatever, the inward experience is necessary for healing. And this is such a beautiful way of doing it because you're so supported and guided, both before, during, and after, and you're in a really safe container with professionals.
Is there anything you'd like to share with somebody watching right now that you think
Yeah, one of the things that that the average the typical question people ask is, what would you tell your younger self? You know, right? What would you tell your younger self? And the answer all the time for me is learn how to meditate. Learn how to meditate, because that is a superpower. It benefits you in every area of your life, and it absolutely helps you with these experiences. And can I talk about my book? No? Can I just mention it? Okay.
Yeah, you could talk about your
Okay. When I started to get into the experiences of plant medicine, psychedelics, in the experience I had with my mother, this big experience of healing that I told you about, I get the message to write a book. It's called Mindful Metamorphosis. And it talks about all these different things. It talks about all these different applications, my healing journey, but all kinds of different applications. I share a lot of resources. And, that's available for people, Audible, Spotify, and on Amazon.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks.
That was really good.
Yeah?
Yes, you did great.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you're an open channel.